Hi. Hello to all my classmates and also to you, Professor Bennett. My name is David Welch. I live in the Austin, Texas area up in the hill country near Lake Travis. Um, Very beautiful scenery. We live right next to a wildlife nature refuge, um, bird sanctuary. So it's a very scenic, beautiful area with lake views and hills and vistas and all kinds of things. Um, I'm 49 years old, and I decided to come back to school. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later on. And uh, for now, that's kind of the basics. I'm majoring in the Bachelor of Science program with an emphasis on counseling, um, with hopes to be able to counsel people later on. So, I guess get started, and I'll tell you some more about me. This is me hanging out at mom's house. She lives about 10 minutes away from where I live. And so I get to see her quite often. My siblings are, one is in Austin and the other one is in another city here in Texas. So we don't see her as much, my sister. But I do see my brother on a pretty regular basis, but I definitely see mom quite a bit. Um, and you see here, I mentioned mom's china cabinet. She's very proud of it. And she collects all kinds of little curious things and knickknacks that she likes to look at. And it's just one of her things that she's very proud of. This is my pride and joy. Her name is Tinkerbell. She'll be 3 on August 15th. I've had her ever since she was a little bitty puppy, 2 months. She is a ball of energy. She's a terrier mix, from what I know, and she just makes my life a lot more enjoyable. And hopefully, I give her a pretty good life. And yeah, she has her own little bed at mom's house, so that she has somewhere to rest when we go see mom too. And you can see her here in the front seat of my Jeep. That was during winter, and she had her little sweater on. She owns the passenger seat in my Jeep, and we often go for treats at the local Starbucks or some other organization, and they always offer her treats, and she'll jump over onto my lap to say hello to whoever's at the window. Quite hilarious. Very important to me is my family. Um, I never knew my biological father, so you won't see pictures of him. Um, these three women here at the top left of the screen are my mother, my grandmother, and my sister, the three strongest and most formidable women. And I should mention my aunt. I don't have a picture of her here, but she's also included in that group. They've never given up on me. They've always pushed me to be better. They've done great, amazing things themselves. They're all survivors, and they're all motivators and doers. Um, so I have very strong ties to my family. And my great grandmother, as you get to know me, I'll talk about her some, I'm sure, was very special to me. In the top right hand corner, you see my mom with four kiddos. Uh, these are my nieces and my nephew, Max. They're actually a little bit older now, but this is an okay picture, and it just gives you an idea of who they are. And my brother and I have not had kids. My sister's the only one who had kids so far, so we treat them as kind of our surrogate kids, and we spoil them as uncles. But they're all very smart, all very intelligent, and they all made the honor roll recently. Max is amazing. He scored in the 96th percentile in his kindergarten class. So we're very excited about his future and what he's going to do. And then you see me here with my mom in her vehicle, taking a selfie. One of her favorite things to do is take selfies of us wherever we go. So I try to avoid it, but I usually can't. Even at my age, she's still mom. And then here's my sister and I, and then my brother and I. My sister and I always, for some reason, had a very, very close relationship. She was also very close to my brother. And my brother and I think we had that typical brother relationship where there was some um, sibling rivalry kind of thing, you know. But as we got older, we got closer and we get along very well. Laura's an amazing young lady. She became an executive with a big corporation. She has uh, traveled the world for business. She owned her own company in the IT industry. Um, my brother is also an entrepreneur. He owned a restaurant. He has an entertainment company that he books live entertainment for different events. And I think he plays around the stock trade too a little bit. I'm not sure, but he's very successful. They've both been amazing people and motivators to me. I sometimes call my sister my little big sister because she sometimes seems like she's the older one. Um, so we'll move on. And I'm excited right now because one of the focuses in my life, besides my education, is been the goal to find myself a home of my own because I've basically rented or leased until now. So I was lucky enough to find this little precious gem for a really rock bottom bargain price. It was originally used as a daycare center. It's an open concept, 700 square foot Texas sized tiny home. I originally was going to go for like a tiny home park model and do that kind of thing, but then I found this and have decided to put it on a piece of land and build it out and everything like that. And this will be home for a while. Um, so we'll be adding the shower. There's already a kitchen that didn't get a picture of. There's a shower will need to be added to the bathroom, and we'll wall off the bedroom area and add closet space and all that. So that's really exciting. Something I'm looking forward to happening. It's all in God's good timing. I can't control the time or place, so I've learned that the hard way in my life. Okay, I've gotten past all those little basics. Now I'll try to tell you a little bit about me. I am a very faith-filled person. I was actually an associate pastor in training at one time. I served as a music minister, worship leader, a youth pastor. I was commissioned as a minister to the Church of Christ of America. Church was always, well, I should say church and worship music drew me to the church all the time. That's like God always touched my heart was He drew me in with music. So I was 7 years old when I went to be saved. It was something I didn't really understand at that time, but I can look back now and see the hand of providence and know that God had a reason for stirring my heart to want to be saved. So I often think of the song by CeCe Winans. Oh, I think it's Mercy Said No, and some of the lyrics talk about how she was just a child and she felt the Savior leading, and how she was drawn to what she could not understand. That always hits home for me, that lyric. Anyway, so that's a little bit about me. I also feel like I have a legacy in the church. My great grandparents came here from Mexico, had three daughters, and they worked very hard to make a life. And they were also very strong, faith filled people. And they used to have a Sunday school in their home. And it grew and got so big that they got funding from the Presby in Galveston, Texas, and they built the first Spanish-speaking Presbyterian church in Galveston, Texas, and it's marked with a historical marker today. They're in the history books, and I'm just proud of that, and I feel like that because of them. I think I find some grace thanks to their their service and their faith in God. And I'm sure they'd probably be watching over me right now if they are. Um, anyway, so that's a little bit about that. I say I'm a survivor because, long story short, I endured molestation when I was a child. Um, was very verbally abused at times. And I still had an okay childhood. It's kind of hard to explain. It was not great. There was definitely trauma, but at the same time, I can look back and I can find good times too. I had safe spaces. Like my great grandparents were always safe people and gave me a sense of stability somewhat. So I survived that. Later on, I would become a struggling addict because I became very codependent and through young adulthood. And I never touched drugs or anything like that. I was in my mid 20s in a relationship, and the relationship ended. And I didn't know who I was without that relationship. And the friends that were around me um, introduced me to drinking and substance abuse. And I quickly fell victim and woke up the disease that I already had lying dormant in me. And so I struggled off and on for about 20 years and finally found recovery and did some intense treatment for about 2 years, going to therapy and group and psychoeducation 7 days a week, 5 hours a day for 2 years, and learned a lot about myself and was able to ultimately find peace again. And with that, I'm a survivor also. During all those years, I suffered a stroke in 2011, a heart attack in 2015, and then a DVT in 2017. Survived all that, so I know that God has me here for a reason, because by all practical means, I should be gone. Um, but I'm not, and I'm glad I'm not. So as part of that recovery happened, my calling changed. I thought my calling was always going to be to music and ministry and pastoring some young. But in the middle of it, God called me to help other people who have struggled the way I have. And so I was listening to a Christian radio station one day, and they had a scholarship contest, and it was for CCU. I didn't win the contest, but I did get a small scholarship from the radio station and gained interest in the CCU, and the rest is history. And I've been here and have been working on the associates and recently just changed the major to the bachelor's because I've decided to go even further so that I can ultimately help other people who struggle. So, and that leads me to where I do have hope for the future. Excuse me, and I'm very excited about this class, especially with it being a psychology class. And communication obviously is going to be very important for me as a therapist or counselor. Um, Perfect example. So it's going to be very important for me to be able to communicate effectively and efficiently, and to be able to listen too, because I think a big part of communication is listening. So that's me in a nutshell. I hope that gives you a picture of my life and who I am. Like I said, I still love music. It's still my passion. But I'm more than happy to follow God's lead into what He's taking me to now, which I don't know exactly how it's going to look. I only have to live in today and let Him take care of tomorrow. And I hope that all of you are well. And I'm excited to be in class with you. I look forward to getting to know you through discussions, and hope that we'll have some good interaction that way. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day.